نبينا Mohammed وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, throughout your journey in life, you may take on many different jobs. When you think back, you think your first job, you think the career that you had in mind, or the business that you wanted to open. Many of us have worked many jobs throughout our life. But all these jobs are jobs to do with the dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a job. This job is one of the great acts of worship. It's the job of your lifetime. It's the job of the prophets. It's the job that many of us have abandoned and turned away from. What is this job that I speak of? وظيفة العمر. What is this job? The best job that you could ever do. Somebody tell me.
الدعوة إلى الله.
Jazakallah khair. We'll give you a gift later. الدعوة إلى الله. الدعوة إلى الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. And who is better in speech than the one who calls people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is the great job. Everybody think, the Muslimin are large in number. Think about yourself. How many of us call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This was the great attribute of this ummah. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. That's what gave this ummah the khayriyah, made it the greatest nation. That they enjoin the good and forbid the evil. What role does each and every one of us contribute to the da'wah? The da'wah can look many ways. In the end of the day, the mission of this job is to call people to tawheed, is to call people to goodness, is to call people to piety and righteousness, is to call people to the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you really actually care about somebody, and if you care about somebody, you have muhabba for this person, you would love to see them on the deen. You would love to see them close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You would love to see them in obedience of Allah, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The da'wah takes sacrifice. The da'wah takes giving from your time, from your energy, from your money. Nowadays, when we look at the masajid, many people look at it like a place to come, do my salah and leave. And of course, this is the asas. But now the masajid are Islamic centers. They are mu'assasat da'wiyah. They are places of da'wah. They are places to teach and learn. They are places to find brothers and sisters, to aid one another. There are places to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You look at the stories of the prophets, you look at the Quran full of stories. There are many lessons to take from these stories. Lessons of da'wah, lessons of sacrifice. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Who from us is calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said subhanahu wa ta'ala, ادعوا إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. Call to the way of Allah. Call to the way of Allah with wisdom and good reminder. This is all you can do. To remind. You have no ability to compel anyone. You have to do it with wisdom, with kindness, with rahmah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُصَيْطِرْ. And remind, O Prophet of Allah, this is your duty. But you are not compelling them. The guidance is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the job. As you go through this process in Ramadan of increasing in your iman and your piety, look to the people who maybe are not as blessed with guidance, who don't have the guidance, invite them, call them. As the Prophet ﷺ said, لأن يهدي الله بك رجل واحد خير لك من حمر النعم خير لك من الدنيا وما فيها. If you really know how big of a deal it is, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to guide somebody on your hands, better than this whole world and everything in it. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يهدينا ويجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خير.